Hi everyone. So today I will give you a brief explanation and introduce you what is hedonism and where does the term hedonism come from. So the term hedonism derived from Greek word hedonismos, which means delight, and hedon, which means pleasure. In the philosophy view, it means to live a pleasurable life. On the other hand, in the psychology view, it means pleasure that can motivate people so that they can live a happy and satisfied life. Generally, hedonism is a pleasant feeling that is felt by people and the most vital part for a person or a society to live happily. Now, I will move on to the factors that can affect pleasure or pain that is felt by a person. There are 7 factors that can affect the pleasure or pain, which is intensity, duration, certainty, propinquity, fecundity, purity, and extent. The first one is intensity. This measures how intense the pleasure or pain that is felt by a person. The second one is duration. This means that what is the time period for the pleasure or pain to happen on a person. The third one is certainty. It means that how certain or how uncertain the pleasure or pain will happen. The fourth one is propinquity. In the hedonism context, it means that how far are we from pleasure or pain. The next one is fecundity. It is the possibility or chance that the pleasure will lead to other pleasures that we will encounter. And the next one is purity, which is the opposite of fecundity. This means that purity is the chance that any pain will lead to any other pain. And the last factor that can affect hedonism is extent. This means that to what extent that we will feel pleasure or pain.
So, I'm going to tell you about the history of hedonism. The first written record of hedonism comes from the Kavaka, an Indian philosophical tradition based on the Bhaspatya Sutras. The earliest example of hedonism was the philosopher of the Cyrenaic, an early Socratic school founded by Aristippus. Hedonism answered a philosopher's question about what is the biggest good thing for a human. It began when Socrates asked, "What's the ultimate goal of mankind?" Then Aristippus from Cyrene answered, "The enjoyment is the biggest good thing for a mankind." After that, a philosopher named Epicurus from Greece continued the theory. He says that was natural when people find their own pleasure. In the Middle Ages, Christian philosophers widely denounced hedonism, which they believed to be inconsistent with Christian emphasis on avoiding sin, doing the will of God, and developing Christian virtue of faith, hope, and charity. However, Renaissance philosophers such as Erasmus and Sir Thomas revived hedonism as a defense of religious grounds that pleasure was in fact compatible with God's wish for humans to be happy. In the 17th, 18th, and 19th century, libertinism was founded as a philosophy of hedonism. In the 18th century, Francis Hutcheson and David Hume was discussed that the moral theme of enjoyment and satisfaction more truly. It was precursor of utilitarianism.
Guys, there are some of the advantages of hedonism. Firstly, Hedonism is a theory that pursues maximum pleasure in our life. You can find that you feel less stressed by arranging and engaging in activities that you like. To reduce the stress that gain from studies and work. Secondly, hedonism plays an important role in generating motivation and purpose of life. For instance, challenging yourself can bring a sense of accomplishment and having a new hobbies and interests. Lastly, by exercise, hedonism can also be achieved. This is because our brain will release endorphins and serotonins, which are chemicals that make us feel good about life and enjoy it. Guys, now let us to see the disadvantage that's caused by hedonism. Firstly, societal problems are highly infectious among teenagers that are caused by hedonism. This is due to the fact that they think that smoking, drinking alcoholic drink, having luxurious goods can bring happiness to them. This is a misunderstanding that get by the teenagers and needed to correct it instantly. Secondly, hedonists will put themselves before others and neglect their responsibility in the life. They are unlikely to care about others' feelings, ideas, and thinking. Last but not least, hedonists only look for the short-term pleasure rather than the most important long-term life target.
Our opinion on hedonism is about satisfaction of everything, but this can give a lot of disadvantages to mankind. Hedonism has its philosophical roots as far back as Plato and Socrates. However, all Greek logician Epicurus is regularly credited with articulating an early brand of gratification put together not with respect to an existence of untamed hungers, yet on moderate delights and regard for other people. But hedonism does not necessarily bring many disadvantages. Hedonism can reduce stress, but should not be too entertaining to be negligent. Commercialization prompts abuse of common assets, which is not useful for climate and practical development. Their endless eagerness turn into their need for the glutton. Consistent joy looking for may not yield the most genuine delight or satisfaction over the long haul or even in the short run. When intentionally seeking after joy meddles with encountering it. For the conclusion, hedonism is not something that is very bad to care about their satisfaction and lust. Without the more important things, the hedonism brought by the figures in ancient times was with a good deal. Valuable hedonism reduces all tremendous joy. For example, a value hedonist will explain cash estimates instrumentally by describing how things we can buy with cash, for example, food, shelter, and products that mean status, give us joy, or help us stay away from torture. Hedonistic utilitarian would be ethically obligated to freely execute a guiltless companion of theirs if doing so was the best way to advance the best bliss, generally speaking. Thank you.